What is up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and I've got 5 new metal music videos that you should check out. And hey, if you like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. Alright, so I've had several requests I've been meaning to cover for a while now, and I just haven't really had a good opportunity to share them. They've been sitting in my watch later pile, and then it occurred to me, okay, I'm trying this new thing. I'm trying to cover more recent videos, but I thought I'd take this opportunity to share a few that have piled up along the way. So kicking things off, I played that clip from Beyond Thy Sight with Sons of Witches. This is a French band, and they have an EP coming up that is going to have this song and a few others. They're an interesting kind of fusion of different sounds. It kicks off sort of in this very djenty style. It's a little bit like metalcore meets blackened death metal with symphonic elements on there too. And then they've got like the corpse paint look going on too, and so it's interesting. You kind of look at them, you assume they're kind of like a Dimmu Borgir kind of vibe, and there are elements of that a little bit, but then also like some straight up kind of metalcore sounds seeping in as well. Some people, that may be kind of a weird mashup, but I quite enjoy it. I love weird fusions. The clean singing parts on this song particularly have kind of like a Within the Ruins vibe too. And I love Within the Ruins. So the guitar work is definitely not Within the Ruins, but just something about that vocal segment in particular stood out to me and reminded me of that band. So yeah, check out Beyond Thy Sight. Alright, then we have Mentally Blind with Traces, and they actually have a newer single out now called Everything's Great. That one's a little bit heavier, more of like a groove metal track almost, but I particularly want to backtrack to this track, which was given to me, I think in like December of last year, and it's just so good. Like, this is just pure metalcore goodness. This is a Polish band, on the very melodic end of the spectrum, a la kind of like Polaris and Make Them Suffer. If you enjoy bands like that, I think you're really going to love this song. And this guy has a fantastic voice too. Both the harsh vocals and the singing in particular are just fantastic. There's one part where he hits this little falsetto note in the chorus, and it's just fantastic. Seriously Infectious takes me back to the early 2000s version of myself, thinking through high school, thinking through that, those days that I talked about in my other video recently about like my favorite year in metal, and just, yeah, that's definitely what this brings up for me. And so yeah, check out Traces, but also check out Everything's Great if you want something to kind of see both sides of this band. Alright, then we have Vertex with Following Arrows. Speaking of something heavier, this is kind of a progressive metal band, but also like they described, there was mathcore tagged in it when it was sent to me too. I wouldn't say as much of that. Another French band. Honestly, overall, if you like Meshuggah, this is for you. This is very strong Meshuggah vibes, at least on this particular track. Super groovy, just head-bobbing tunes, very hypnotic. There's also a really awesome breakdown towards the middle that goes absolutely mental. I like that little like shaky vibration effect they have on the video too, that further amplifies just like how intense the bass sound is, or maybe that is actually vibrating the camera. I don't know, but it seems like an after effect most likely. They also bring it down later on in the song with like a good combination of just like low rumbling bass and these jangly kind of high pitched guitars. Just great all around, fantastic track, well shot video, kind of fits the atmosphere of the song, and yeah, check out Vertex. Next we have Tezura with Stay Alone. Got another metalcore band for you. Don't get mad, these are what the requests have been, y'all. Again, I happen to quite enjoy metalcore when it's done well, when it's done right, but I know some people not so keen on it. This is another one that has more of a classic era sound, even more so, I would say, than the last band. Very early 2000s, kind of like Unearth and Trivium style vibes, like their earlier albums. Awesome hooks if you're into that kind of nostalgia with the like alternated hook patterns, the more like Gothenburg ripoff style hooks as opposed to the gent. And it's just a fun track. And speaking of which, like, even though it's still very familiar, it's a nice reprieve from the endless waves of gent bands, the kind of Architects light bands that we always hear from nowadays. Vocalist has a different kind of look to. He looks more like he's in Mors Principium Est, actually, and has that sort of vibe to his vocals. And there's also some cool like gang vocals later on featuring multiple members of the band that go into kind of like a folky direction in a weird way. How can we see all our failures? Like, I'm not saying that this is like folk metalcore or anything like that, but that stuck out to me as something that was kind of fun and a little bit different, and put a little bit of a signature on it. So yeah, check out Tezura if that sounds appealing to you. All right, this last one is a serious banger alert. It is Mouthbreather with Wasted Science. This is also the most recent music video on this list. It just came out like a week ago, something like that, maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. This is a Boston-based kind of like math grind, hardcore, metallic hardcore, like grindcore. Depending on the song, they kind of like permeate through all of those elements in certain different varieties, whatever you want to call it. Super hard, super noisy. I previously covered their EPs Pig and Doll Meat on metaltrenches.com, and I actually did an interview with them on the podcast. Definitely has the record probably in my mind for being the most off the rails interview that I've ever done. It's an interesting listen. This is from their upcoming album I'm Sorry Mr. Salesman, out May 7th. And they've had some lineup changes since the previous material, but it didn't really overly change their sound, though I will say I think this is their most like hard, aggressive, kind of nailsy track so far. A little bit of Knocked Loose in there as well. I really love the dual vocals that pop up with the bass player who was previously doing vocals, so it's a good fit there. Love the bass tone on some parts, and I also just adore there's this moment with this cool little use of talk box on the guitar, which is a first for the band, I believe, and it just sounds so cool. The production sounds stronger than ever. I, again, love the aesthetic of the video. It definitely fits with their overall vibe and sound and style. And yeah, fantastic stuff. If you haven't heard Mouthbreather before, definitely check them out. You can find their previous material on Bandcamp. And again, May 7th, mark your calendar. That is the new album. And that's it, y'all. Just 5 music videos I thought I'd share with you that I enjoyed, that were kind of just building up, and I wanted to get them out to the masses. I will continue to do this segment if people enjoy it. Particularly, again, I'm focusing on newer videos now that I've cleared out a little bit of the backlog, and depending on time. But yeah, let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this? Do you enjoy this? Do you want me to keep doing this? And yeah, let's just chat down there. Of course, you can chat with us on Discord too. The link is provided. And stick around because I got plenty more videos coming right after this one. Full album reviews, interviews with bands, tier lists, you name it, we've got it. So plenty of reasons to subscribe if you have not already. And also you can support on Patreon. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.